So all the stuff that's related to skill. Now then the question would be, well, would they have batting cages and mini golf and driving range? Well, that would be up to the owner, like, you know, what they decide. That would be one way to like bridge audiences, but and kind of get people in the start. So you know, these are just things to consider and kind of like figuring out, like, one is like the big question. I think the big important thing that to consider here is like the soft skill aspect of things, and and kind of and assessing what is already in existence. Like, there are all these little things that are sort of interconnected, but they're not yet accommodating to specifically to the hard skill, you know, to the, you know, it's like we're expecting to be able to juggle here, we're expecting to be able to do flow arts here, and not just in a field or a park somewhere, which is great, and we do that, and that's like what it's going to be. But we just don't have like those spaces yet where those things are like the expectation, and you know, what people come for. I mean, you know, maybe that huge one I was talking about with the pogo sticks and the you know, that vast expanse of land, 9-hole golf course size, you know, maybe you pay like $10 for the day, and like you just, you know, like, and they got snacks there, they've got you know, maybe even like some actual food, they've got concessions, you can even buy equipment there, and just have like, it's just I think we're a while from that. That would be like a 10-year. I don't think any sooner than 10 years would that happen. To have something that elaborate. But yeah, I think I think that's a future possibility. Like, as things advance, it could also, of course, it could just it could host you know, a skate park, and maybe that would be a feature of future private skate parks, is that the private skate parks would also have this skill feature, and you know, and just to like, you know, to mention it again, is that, you know, for skateboarders, it's like, if you're, especially in climates where it's hard to skate in the winter, when it gets too cold to skate, really, the skill, the general skill category, like all the stuff that's skill, you know, is going to be beneficial to you as a skateboarder, because you're still getting a lot of movement, and you're still like learning, you know, motor skills and things like that. So even if you're not on a skateboard, and I know people use, they'll have their skateboards out like on carpets, you know, at home. So there is like it happens a bit, but there is a thing where it's like you try to skate inside. Plus there's also, you know, most dedicated, you know, really into it skateboarders have ways of skating. They have places, indoor parks, and they have ways of getting some skateboarding in, but you're losing still a bunch of skateboarding like that you would do, maybe just going down the street, or you know, going from one place to another, that kind of, you know, skateboarding. So yeah, okay, as far as these are concerned, yeah, so it's the soft skill issue, and then it's how is that soft skill, one, helping us to get a better understanding of what skill is, and then two, how do these soft skills interact or eventually help to grow the skill spaces that exist, and yeah, so this has been a little, you know, this is not a skate park. This is like kind of off the beaten path. I've done a few videos recently that were kind of off the beaten path, as far as like, you know, getting away from the idea of skill space. But I do think that these are really important topics to at least introduce and to start to, you know, think about as we move forward and as we explore skill space and what skill is. And I mean, I guess the only other thing to, you know, that I can think of at this point is like, it's like, well, you know, maybe kind of thinking about the motivation for people to do soft skill, and how that is connected with skill in general. Because, so, you could say that, right here we have, this is a practice, a putting green, a practice putting green, so, and that's like a really good example, because that's where people can practice their putting skills, and they don't have to get on a golf course, and so that they have more experience. You even have that idea of like the businessman in his office putting putting into a cup or some sort of putting into like one of those. There used to be, from the Sharper Image. Remember that? There used to be a like there was the return putter. Like you would put it into the this area, and then it would return the ball automatically for you. I think it took a little bit of like a battery, or I don't know, or maybe there's other ways that required no batteries. It just sort of like went down a hill, or went down a incline, decline kind of thing, a slope away, which is a small one of the 6 machines of the ancients, the incline plane, the incline and the, I guess they just call it the incline plane because the opposite, we know, is on a slope away, a pitch, a grade, the dip, as it were. So so what's that motivation? And like, I think it's pretty obvious. So in this case, with these things, it's like, well, with the putting green, you're at the practice putting green here. It's like, well, I can practice my putting, or if I'm in my office, I can practice my putting, and that way when I get on the green in an actual, when I'm out playing golf, whether it's on my own or with, with others, I'm that much better, much more comfortable playing on the green, which for golfers, all golfers know that the putting green is a huge part of the game. I mean, golf is, on the other, kind of, just a thing about golf is like golf is really a fascinating, I find it to be like a real fascinating skill or sport or activity. Many approaches to describing what golf is about, and it's also very old. It's like one of the older sort of activities. So baseball would be newer, basketball definitely newer, football probably newer. Now soccer, depending on how you date it, the roots of soccer could go back thousands of years. Kicking a ball with your foot, but the idea of like hitting a ball with your stick, that's an old idea too. An old idea. So, so the game of golf, it's when people, I think when the layman, when the someone who's not familiar with golf, they'll say like, like golfing's about the driving. You use the driver, you use the big club, and you hit it as far as you can. But every golfer knows that that's important. But once you get on the green, you could lose a lot of strokes just by not being able to get the ball in the hole. So again, like all these things sort of add up. But that's so you could say like the reason driving ranges exist is so that people can get these skills and work on these skills and get better at these skills, so that they become more proficient golfers when it comes time to perform on an actual course. Plus they're getting all the physical benefits of just being like doing those movements of their body when they're practicing. But I guess what I'm saying is that the practice here at the driving range could be in and of itself its own, it could be onto itself like its own purpose. So I don't know what the percentage would be, but maybe like 20%. There probably are some people who rarely get on the links. They rarely get on the a 9 or 18 hole golf course, but they do come out to the driving range much more because they enjoy driving, the driving range. They enjoy hitting the ball, and they enjoy some putting, practicing on the putting green, which usually doesn't get. From my experience at driving ranges and these types of places, the putting green usually does not get that much love. But you do, it does. It gets some. But that's also why the putting green is also usually free. So you could hit your bucket at 15, really like 25 or up to 100 probably. Bucket of 100 balls, and then practice on the putting green for a while if you want. So it's not. There's no extra fee for that feature. So that's nice. In the batting cages too, I think my mind goes to When Harry Met Sally, because Bruno Kirby and Billy Crystal were in the batting cages having the discussion. Great scene, one of 30 amazing scenes in a very well written, very funny film, When Harry Met Sally. I think that's 1989. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, these guys are, they were in their, they're depicting guys that were in their, maybe 30s, maybe late 30s, maybe even like early 40s. And so the question is, like, were they at the batting cage? And it's not unusual. Like what they were doing, like that seemed very ordinary that they were at a batting cage. The question is, like, were they, like, when was their next baseball or softball game that they were, So it gets back to the question of, that people do really want to maintain and appreciate to continue these skills, regardless of if they're going to play an actual game. So that gets back into what, the value of skill, and that it does exist. And the other thing about skill, when we look at the numbers and everything, it's like, it really is going to be, with a lot of things in America or in the world, it's like, it's not going to be some sort of massive thing. I don't know, like, what, the way that it's going to shake out as far as, like, even its relationship to skateboarding. Like, skateboarding is gigantic. Even though skateboarding, in a way, is part of what skill is about. But, like, well, skill, skill is too, as a category, skill is, like, too broad. And I'm guessing what would happen is at any given time, pogo stick would be popular, and then everyone's doing